Many random things will happen in this video, but there will be a point and a message. So I realize I've talked a lot about the Cristero War in the past, as well as the atrocities that were in El Salvador. Let me see if I have any more Cristero pictures. It doesn't look like I do. Anyways, no more Cristero pictures. So I mentioned the Calles and the Cristero War, and the Mexican government kicking open the doors of churches during Mass and massacring every man, woman, and child in there. Calles believed that if he made sure that the people did not take the Eucharist, the host, for a year, that all religion and superstition would be rid from his country. The Cristero Rebellion lasted for 3 years until Calles conceded and let the people practice their religion. And priests weren't murdered on sight, so they were allowed to come back. This was done in the name of morality, in the name of social progress, in the name of rational state planning, in the name of science, and to break their belief in God. There was another man who caused a famine and created a genocide and democide in order to break his people's belief in a God, and that was Joseph Stalin in the 1930s, the Holodomor. Killed something, I believe, like between 8 and 12 million people. Now, I showed that the Crusades were a defensive action, and that the Spanish Inquisition, over its 350-year period, only executed between 750 and 2,000 people. None of them were burned alive or burned at the stake or stoned or quartered or anything like that. They all had trials lasting about 2 years, and they always had the option to plead guilty and receive penance. But what else was done in the name of atheism? Not just communism, but, I mean, you had 35 million in China dead, 61 million in the USSR just between the period of 1917 to 1935. That doesn't even include World War II. Communist Poland, 1.6. The Nazis, although some will dispute that, 20 million. Mao's own army. Mao had a slash and burn technique, slaughtering anyone that got in their way, not just the Japanese, when he was a guerrilla warrior. 3.9 million people died because of him between 1923 and 1949. The Yugoslavian purge, 1 million people. The anti-Christian Mexican Revolution that lasted for 20 years killed 1.4 million Catholics and Christians. And this is before the Cristeros. This was from 1900 to 1920. The Cristero War was in 1933. So, yeah, and this was targeting both these wars in Mexico were targeting Christians, kicking open church doors and massacring unarmed people. The Mexican government today is still anti-Catholic. The Constitution is still, the first 6 articles are about how the Catholic Church is wrong and against the law. But yeah, I could go into Cambodia, the 2 million that were killed there under Pol Pot, but there's other non-communist examples, such as the French Revolution, the Paris Commune, where anti-Christian forces believed that for the benefit of society, they needed to kill people. And also, to break belief in God, they needed to murder massive amounts of people in the most brutal ways. And nuns and monks and priests were targeted. In the Mexican Revolution, during the Cristero War, in the Paris Commune, in the French Revolution. Again, it's not atheism that I'm against. It's anti-clericalism, or what's known as antitheism, before Christopher Hitchens reworked the definition. The definition of antitheism is actually anti-clericalism, where you don't believe that someone who is a Christian, believing Christian, should be allowed to live, that they must die. All right. Now for something completely different. To say these atheist dictators, like Dawkins does in his book, The God Delusion, they weren't killing people because of their atheism. No, they were killing people, they were murdering people because they were Christians and theists, and to break their belief in God, and to forward science and education and social planning and the proper morality. So they slaughtered millions upon millions of people. And many times they did it in the most gruesome, grotesque ways to break the belief of the onlooker. And they especially attacked those who they knew wouldn't fight back: nuns, priests, monks. So this is a horrifying thing to talk about. So I'll just add at the end another thing, now for something completely different.